Hello there. The energy picture looks bleak, with another price shock hurtling down the oil and gas pipes. You may be told that everything's getting back to normal. Even the Bank of England now predicts the UK won't go into a technical recession this year. But Erik Værnes, the chief economist of Norway's state-owned oil company Equinox, told the FT that there's a self-inflicted, slow-motion energy train crash coming down the tracks. Basically, oil and gas companies have scaled back investment hugely under pressure from the eco-lobby and net-zero hungry governments. But he also said that nowhere near enough money is going into green energy. Therefore, there will soon not be enough energy to go round. That means at some stage in the future there will be an energy crunch. Not enough energy and too many consumers, and prices will go through the roof. That's petrol, diesel, gas, oil and electricity, of course. And that time could be quite near. So what does that tell us? Well, it tells me that the oil and gas companies are doing their eco bit and cutting back on future oil and gas, but no one is prepared to step into the breach and invest their money in the green energy needed to replace that oil and gas. So why not? Why aren't all those rich billionaires who fly about the planet telling us to get an electric vehicle while telling us never to fly because it kills the planet? Why aren't they getting their checkbooks out? And what about all those ethical funds out there? Where's their money going? We're constantly told how cheap green is and how it's great for our future and will save us all money. It's a wonderful investment, they say. So why aren't the big investors fighting for their share of that supposedly lucrative pie? Or is the real truth that it is hideously expensive to get green infrastructure in place, that it's not sustainable economically, so they're expecting the taxpayer, that's you and me, to do all the financial heavy lifting, while a few of them cream off the best bits where they can? That's what it sounds like to me. That no one will put their own money where their green mouth is, and no one will get drilling to keep the energy flowing either. As far as I'm concerned, the super wealthy who could do the green investing know the real truth, and they're just sitting back to see which country and company goes bankrupt first in their quest to go full net zero. And in Germany, Extinction Rebellion activists have been going around illegally taking down the no speed limit autobahn signs and imposing their own speed limits. They really are a bunch of self-entitled idiots, aren't they? Now, if you're an animal lover, get your blood pressure monitor out now. The people of the UK want to see the import of hunting trophies banned, but the government did not deliver. We've all seen the photos in the media of sad, emotionally stunted standing there, hunting rifle in hand, over the dead body of an antelope, zebra, giraffe or lion, and smiling inanely while looking forward to having the stuffed head of said animal hanging grotesquely from their living room wall. And that makes the rage in the average Brit top out, and demands for action to be taken ensue. Well, we're told, action has been taken. The Hunting Trophies Import Prohibition Bill has been passed by the House of Commons and sent to the Lords for further scrutiny before royal assent, so all is well. Except it's not. And why? Because the European Union hasn't got a ban on the import of hunting trophies, nor does it look like Brussels will be banning it any time soon. But we've left the EU, so that doesn't matter, I hear you cry. Well, Northern Ireland is still part of the single market, and therefore under EU law, hunting trophies can be imported into Northern Ireland. And Rishi Sunak has no intention of picking a fight with Brussels over that. In fact, his Windsor framework reinforces that. So the bill I mentioned earlier has been drafted very carefully to fully accommodate EU law, because the bill would only make it an offence to import hunting trophies into England, Scotland and Wales. Importing hunting trophies into Northern Ireland will still be perfectly legal. But further, if you do some fancy footwork with the customs people in Northern Ireland, you can get the trophy reclassified and brought into the rest of the UK anyway. Don't believe me? Well, here's what barrister Stephen Barrett wrote in Spiked Online a few days ago. A bill is currently making its way through Parliament that would outlaw importing hunting trophies of endangered species. This is not only the will of the UK government, it is also a popular policy with the public. It will be rendered pointless, however, by the Windsor framework. The compromise offered by the framework means that trophies can still be brought back to Northern Ireland. EU law will remain dominant in Northern Ireland, and the EU does not intend to introduce any similar hunting trophy ban. Once in Northern Ireland, there are several ways the trophies then pass seamlessly into the UK. This was pointed out to the government last week by DUP MP Sammy Wilson, and the government had to concede that it was true. Trudy Harrison, Parliamentary Under-Secretary of State for Natural Environment and Land Use, agreed that any trophy that qualified as a good under the United Kingdom Internal Market Act 2020 will be allowed to pass from Northern Ireland into Great Britain. And Barrett went on to call it a nonsense law and a ban in name only. I would go further. It is a law in name only. A lino. A lino that has been rolled out like a red carpet to accept EU law across the UK. In this case, a lino that puts in place an official route to get hunting trophies into the UK. How counterintuitive is that? That bill has been cynically drafted to keep the animal lovers placated while serving the purposes of the pro-EU lobby. And they might even try and claim it's a legal divergence from the EU, a Brexit benefit. Except it is nothing of the sort. It reinforces EU law, allows the hunting trophy imports to continue, and further separates Northern Ireland from the rest of the UK. So on that basis, the House of Lords is therefore almost certain to just wave it through. I watched the Commons debate on this bill, and all those MPs gushing over each other about how wonderful for animals this was, and slapping each other on the back at how clever they were, before voting to accept it. The gullible amongst them, and true animal lovers, should by now be extremely irate over this. You've all been scammed, you've all been shafted, and be in no doubt there'll be more linos coming down the pipe. So, how proud are you of your country? Richard.
Hello. So here I am in North Wales, and beautiful scenery. It's blowing an absolute gale here, but I'm going to do my best and hopefully it'll come out all right. So, last night I stayed in Carnarvon, and I experienced something which I haven't experienced for a long time. And that is, I heard people speaking in Welsh openly in the streets and in the pubs. In fact, I would say more than 90 to 95% of the conversations that I heard and people talking was in Welsh. The conversations were in Welsh, and it was remarkable. It's such a wonderful thing to hear, because it just goes to show that the people here still hold on to their identity, to their Welsh identity. And I'm afraid to say it's in sharp contrast to where I live in South Wales, well, Mid Wales, Brecon Beacons, where the last time I heard Welsh spoken openly, and I remember it, in Crickhowell, it was about 10 years ago. And yet here I am in North Wales and people are speaking in the everyday tongue I will say, in Welsh. Now, my better half, who is with me, she is English, as am I. As you know, I've said before, I was born an Englishman and I will die a Welshman. But she noticed it and she said, for the English, it feels like there isn't an identity anymore. It's been lost, it's been handed over. There are people who come here from other places, we shall say, who have a stronger identity in Britain than the people, or should I say in England, than the actual English themselves. And this doesn't just go for the English, this goes for South Wales as well, I would say, where the identity is, it's not as strong as up here. It's quite fantastic. Absolutely, hats off to the people here in North Wales. Wonderful, wonderful people. Anyway, to my English friends, I don't know what you can do about it, and to my friends down in the South Wales valleys, I don't know what you can do about it either. But something needs to change. You need to... What's wrong with being proud to be Welsh in South Wales? What's wrong with being proud to be English in England? Right now everybody just feels guilty for being British. I don't know, something's wrong, guys. Anyway, there we go. Right, I'm off to continue enjoying my birthday trip away, and I'm off to Llandwyn, which is just behind me, as soon as the weather breaks and I can get across. It's a tidal island, so there we go. Take care, you lot.